above the rows of old R&B and black gospel records I used to spin on my radio show. One of the clay sculptures is of a ballerina sitting cross-legged. Or perhaps she is just a woman in tights. The other sculpture my mother made and I kept is of our dog Moose. Moose was a toy poodle whose pedigree name was Parquet Ralphie of Russell Hill Road. We called him Moose. The sculpture has Moose sitting, with one of his paws raised slightly, as if he is hoping to shake your hand, or as if you had just said, "Shake, Moose, that's a good boy, shake." The sculpture, like Moose, is mostly white, but with a black nose and black eyes, and some brown flecks in his fur. It is covered in a glaze. When I was 6 or 7 years old, my mother took me to the Art Gallery of Ontario to see a gigantic hamburger made of painted fabric. It was taller than me. This sculpture is called Floorburger. It was created by Klaus Oldenburg in 1962. A burger nestled within a bun and a pickle perched on top. Some of the paint was already beginning to crack and flake, even in 1966, when I first saw the gigantic hamburger. A hamburger can be art. That is the first lesson about art I ever learned. Klaus Oldenburg was born 10 days before my mother. He is still alive. My mother died in 1995. David McFadden died in 2018. If I was the kind of writer who worked hard, I would look through all the books I've written, read over all my poems from the 1970s until the present, locate every mention of hamburgers, and tell you which of my poems have hamburgers in them. A lot of my poems have hamburgers. But I do not work hard and my standards are low. Also, my books are scattered everywhere throughout my home, and it would take me too long to find them. Hamburgers are a device. If my poems are getting too serious, I insert a hamburger. Hamburgers, like the word hamburger, make people laugh. I haven't eaten a hamburger since 1993. That's when I became a vegetarian, but I forget why. Oh yeah, I remember. I stopped eating meat and stopped adding salt to my food and stopped drinking coffee for reasons having to do with blood pressure. And then later, my reason for not eating meat became that eating meat was not nice to animals. I admit that when I go to an Indian buffet, I always take one piece of tandoori chicken. But what with this pandemic, I don't know if buffets will exist anymore. Do you see what is happening? I just realized what is happening. I use hamburgers to deflect when my poems get too serious, or when they are about something so serious that I become uncomfortable. A one-time friend of mine, we were very close friends until he decided we weren't, I'll call him K, not Franz Kafka, was the one who pointed that out to me. You put hamburgers in your poems whenever they're getting too serious. You deke the seriousness by making readers laugh. Kay also said he was bothered by vegetarians who like to eat fake meat. If you want to eat meat, then eat meat. Don't eat tofu shaped like a hot dog. Or like a hamburger. I don't know why it was any skin off his back if vegetarians ate tofu that looked like meat. Oh, but look, I'm still doing it. I am talking about hamburgers instead of talking about grief. When you call your dog Moose, you must continually explain to people what kind of moose you are talking about. You are talking about, you say, the French dessert, not the large antlered vegetarian mammal. You know what an elk is? Same thing. But our dog was the dessert. But also not Big Moose from the Archie comics. Big Moose was big and dumb and a swell guy. He dated Midge and was friends with Jughead, who was asexual and whose only love was hamburgers. Most of what Jughead talked about was hamburgers. He was like Wimpy from Popeye, but more relatable to kids. Maybe because he wore a crown-shaped beanie people called a whoopee cap. Maybe just because he was in high school. Did Jughead and Wimpy obsess over hamburgers to avoid their grief? Did